Well, good evening, fans. We got this really crusty radio in with this really crusty battery. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rebuild this crusty battery. And then we're going to test this crusty battery using this old Eveready battery tester, which was probably exposed to ultraviolet light, because you could see that the coloring is faded and the plexi is sort of opaque and not quite clear. Not going to do anything about that. I could polish the plexi, but I'm afraid that I might crack it. I can't do anything about the faded colors, but it works well as it is. So let's get to disassembly. Before I open this, I'll advise that a lot of crusty stuff is going to fall out, but the chemicals that are in there are zinc and carbon. There's no acid in a dry battery. There's nothing here that can truly harm you. If you worry about it, you can wear rubber gloves, but I'm not afraid of carbon. Carbon is not really harmful to you, not one little bit. These are not glued shut, which is a nice touch, although we may end up gluing it when we're done. You can see there's some dried carbon there. We're going to try to dump that in the garbage can without getting too much of it on the workbench, which is not really a workbench. It is an organ. It's an organ, as you can see here, that I'm using as a workbench. This one is made up of F cells, which have completely corroded and broken down. Even the shells are gone. And the 90 volt is made up of Minimax cells. These should be familiar to you if you watch my channel at all. And you'll see that the Minimax cells are right in there. There's some carbon on my hand. And we're going to dispose of that whole thing. None of it's needed. You can see the Minimax cell right here. This is a carbon zinc pile. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. And there are 60 of them. 60 times 1.5, 90 volts. So there you have it. We now have an empty box here, and our Minimaxes are in the trash. I have 10 9-volt batteries, which I'm going to arrange in this pack and then figure out how to get them to be all connected together. Because that's where the 9-volt part of it was. So we're going to reuse that. Okay, I've got them situated like this so that they will fit inside that box. Now I'm going to start making some connections. We split one of these 9-volt battery connectors to make a jumper there. And now we should have 90 volts on the other two terminals. We're going to find out in just a second. And we have on 90, or close enough. I wonder if one of these batteries is weak. Let's take a look. Let's try a different tester. I'm curious. I'm thinking one of them is. I might take this apart and just do a quick check. Give me a minute. I was absolutely correct. We did have a bad cell, and I've corrected it. And now we should have a nice reading on the 90 volt scale. And we do. So what does that tell you? Experience is just that. I usually test each one individually because I buy these in bulk, and that does happen where you get a dud every once in a while. There's the dud. But they didn't do it this time because I knew I would know by the overall, which I did, and that's just experience. So we talk about experience in all types of walks of life, and experience means everything. Okay, our 90 volt part of the pack is complete and working, as you can see. We are now about to figure out our connections, which have to correspond with that to this, so we can get our 7.5, 9 volt connections done. All right, so using our multimeter, we figured out that green on continuity is our negative connection there. Now we've got to figure out which is our 9 volt, which is next, and then 7.5 volt, which is last. See that? So we're making our pack. I'll show you what happens when we're done. Okay, so we have our 9 volts right here. This is 9 volts. Okay, so we've got our pack assembled. We made our first connections, and that should be 9 volts there. We're going to check that with the multimeter. or the battery tester, either one. We'll use the battery tester for you. Okay, so our 9-volt pack is in play. So the question is, how do I get 7.5 volts out of a 9-volt pack? It's actually easier than you think. Let me show you. All we need to do for that is to move this lead to the bottom of the positive battery on my 9-volt. That takes 1.5 out of circuit, giving me 7.5 on this lead. I'll show you when she's wired up. Give me a moment. Okay, our pack is now assembled. Now, if you notice, I'm in the 7-volt hole, and I'm on the lower part of the good scale. If I move over, I'm on the higher part of the good scale. You see that? So I have both connections ready, 7.5 and 9-volt. My pack is completely completed, and all we have to do is put it in that box. Okay, so we've completed our assembly, and we've completed our cleanup. Everything is put away. And now that we are completely assembled, we are going to demonstrate that this is a working battery in all aspects. And then I have a special treat. We are going to install this in the radio that it came out of, and hopefully that radio will play. So first we're going to check our 9-volt connection. Nine volt is good. I'm not going to switch over to 7.5. I'm going to leave it on 9 and show you that the voltage drops. All right, you can see that. That's a better demonstration. I'll flip it to 7.5 now. It should go back to good. As it does. And now we're going to go to our 90-volt scale. Let's make sure we're on the 90-volt scale. Yep, 90-volt scale. And voila, we got 90 volts. So we have a completely working, viable Eveready number 753, a no longer made battery. It is completely and absolutely ready to rock and roll. Let's get this radio, which is really old and dingy, and I'll have to do something with the cabinet, but let's see if it plays. All right, we are plugged into this dingy, dirty, horrible looking radio. It's in really, really poor shape. I don't know if I'm going to resurrect this cabinet or not, but we'll see. But let's turn it around and see what happens. Wow, this ugly thing does work. Look at that. Could you imagine?
No. I'm talking about, in this case, really showed up into that football game, and I think proved a lot to a lot of
Let me put it together and turn it around. Wow. Well, I could do something with this cabinet. I could glue it back together. I could spray paint it black. It's made of some material which is moldy and gross. Or I could pull this chassis out and rehome it in something else if I wanted to. I'm not going to do any of that.
The second time that they've
As Trump fights back against this. But Obama deported more people than anyone in history, and nobody protested. So you get it. And I'm only making this point not to get people... Just trying to give them a broader perspective here. Because if you think not in terms of Republican or Democrat, but you think in terms...
Wow. This thing looks horrible. It looks like it was out in the rain or something. It smells bad, too. Not that it smells like moldy basement. But it actually plays.
Thing, you can actually make progress. That's why I'm over here trying to opiate the masses, Wally. And I appreciate you singing back up.
And it plays on the battery that we built. Amazing. Well, here you go. Another resurrection. Thanks for watching.